Blame and I collected nearly all the guns and bullets and knives that we had, arming to the teeth like those police officers in Hot Fuzz. I had 2 shotguns, one strapped to my back and the other in my hands, and 2 pistols strapped to my waistband with a giant knife. Blame was carrying the 50 cal because, believe it or not, it was simple enough for him to operate freely. He also had multiple weapons and a rifle like me, and we both carried 2 jugs full of the explosive concoction with the 50-foot range. We had several extra-large Molotov cocktails duct taped to spears for taking out multiple drones at a time. The insane amount of weapons that we carried would slow us down, but were necessary if we wanted to come out of this ordeal alive. "Blame, you ready to mess stuff up?" "Heck yeah, dog," he replied. We found 2 pairs of sunglasses in Marlowe's secret whiskey drawer, so our eyes didn't get burned from the explosion, and also because they looked pretty bad. After making the last preparations, the 2 of us walked out of the classroom, heading for the basement on the other side of the first floor. As soon as we walked out, a huge drone jumped out from the corner, as if it knew what we were planning. I fired my shotgun and blew the monster's head clean off. "Holy crap," I said. We kept walking, and I heard multiple growls coming from a dark, unlit hallway on our right, and saw multiple warrior drones blocking us off from the behind, pushing us forward. "Blame, I need the lighter." "Just a sec," Blame said, reaching into his pocket. "Crap, I can't reach it." After 1 tense second, Blame managed to reach into his back pocket through all the armor and gear that he was carrying, and he handed it to me, just as the warrior drones made their move. I lit the rag of the Molotov cocktail attached to the spear, and I threw it at the closest monster, blowing it to heck and back. The Molotov cocktail, which was bigger than a normal one, blew up the one that it hit and killed it and set the other warrior drones on fire, and we quickly took care of them with our guns. I reloaded it and gave Blame a high five. Out of nowhere, Ryan and his goons, Lawrence was strangely missing from the group, appeared out of nowhere, armed with makeshift clubs and glass shards. When Ryan saw Blame and I armed to the teeth and past the gums, he grabbed his pants, figuratively and literally. He made a pathetic attempt to even out the final battle and said, "Hey, you babies, drop your weapons and square up." "Okay," I said. "I just gotta take this off first." I winked at Blame and reached for my backpack and casually pretended to take it, and all the weapons attached to it off as I looked down, pretending that I couldn't see Ryan slowly coming at me with a knife. Just as he brought the weapon down on my face, I caught his arm and quickly whipped out my pistol and shot the heck out of him and the rest of the cultists. Ryan choked and let out one last, "Screw you," and he went down. "Oh, that feels good," I said. Blame and I continued to the basement and stood right in front of the doors going down. We both took one cliché gulp and opened the door and stepped inside and down the stairs to the creepy basement that I remembered. The basement was dimly lit like most of the school, but significantly darker due to the gunk covering the whole place. The basement was the place with the most black gunk that I had ever seen, appearing like a gigantic hive of some sort. The closest thing that I could compare the place to was the alien hive in Aliens 1986. Out of nowhere, a huge drone that was camouflaged in the wall leaped out at us and grabbed onto Blame. "No, dog," he screamed. I kicked the drone away, fired a few shots at it, and lit a Molotov. I threw it at the thing and sent a huge 2-meter explosion of fire everywhere, lighting up the surrounding area, narrowly avoiding Blame. "Get up, man," I said, grabbing Blame's hand and pulling him up. The flames from the Molotov cocktail lit up the area much better than the lights above, and lit the darkest corners of the basement. And to our utter surprise, there were at least a dozen of the biggest warrior drones that I had ever seen, all crawling on the walls in the hive to get to us. "Blame?" I asked. "Yeah, dog. It's been fun, but now let's really mess some stuff up." "You got it." We shared one last fist bump, possibly our last, which isn't likely considering how much more is left of this, and I lit the second last fire grenade spear at the thicket of drones, setting them all on fire. "Eat that!" I screamed as we both unloaded our guns on the flaming monsters, shooting at everything that moved or was on fire. I reloaded, killed, and repeated the cycle until I ran out of ammo on the shotgun that I was using, and pulled off the other one that I had strapped to the back. The drones all throughout the school must have heard the gunshots because a million claws began scraping against the basement door, trying to get inside to get to us. Through all of the chaos, I spotted a very large hole in the middle of the basement, which must have been the entrance to the underground cave that Marlowe had talked about. Blame and I jumped in the hole and walked down the tunnel connecting to it, which looked ancient. There was zero light down there, so we had to make do with our headlamps and flashlights attached to our gun barrels. There were, strangely enough, hieroglyphics not made by human hands on the cave walls, depicting the same Leviathan creatures that we had seen in the other hieroglyphics and drawings. "What the heck?" I whispered. The tunnel going in one direction, which got wider as we got deeper the farther we went, opened up into a small room. And in that room I heard something whisper in an unhuman voice, and then I heard the sound of legs skittering, and I turned to check out the noise. The creature which was in the room had a main body, about 2 meters in diameter, and it resembled the round shell of a crab. But instead of a bright red, the shell was colored a dark and slimy gray. On the front and lower part of the shell there was a hinged and snappy mouth, filled with sharp and translucent teeth. The monster had 10 long spider-like legs coming out of the sides of its lower carapace, all jointed and spindly. A dozen thin and powerful tentacles came out from directly under the monster, gray in coloration. "Holy crap, dog," Blame said. "What is that?" "I don't know, just shoot it," I replied. Blame yelled, "Suck this," and he rapidly fired 3 shots from his shotgun, directly hitting the monster. But what made this monster scary wasn't the fact that it looked like a Lovecraftian crab. It was that all the Blame shots did nothing to it. "Uh-oh," I said. The monster screeched and swung out with one of its legs, and I ducked, counter-attacking it with the stock of my shotgun. I slid directly under the monster and fired a shot right under its carapace, hoping that it was the creature's weak spot. Not surprisingly, it didn't do anything. The monster picked me up from the ground and brought me right up to its tooth-filled face. Suddenly, the monster screeched in pain and dropped me, and I saw that Blame had sliced one of its legs off, which were apparently much less durable than the rest of the creature. "It's the legs, player," he yelled. "Cut the legs off." I pulled out the Bowie knife sheathed in my belt and sliced one of the creature's legs off, and continued doing so until the creature was nothing more than a screeching torso with multiple leg stumps. Blame with the 50 cal stuck the gun right against the creature's head, and I covered my ears. And he fired, completely obliterating the monster. "You good, dog?" Blame asked. "Yeah, man," I said. "It's crazy we're still alive, right?" I reloaded my shotgun. "You ready for more of this?" "Heck yeah." Suddenly, somebody grabbed me from the back and pressed a knife against my throat. "Oh no, a knife against my throat," I said sarcastically. I turned my head an inch and saw that it was Ryan, who had somehow survived the bullet wounds. He opened his jacket, revealing that there was a math textbook under the jacket, which had caught and stopped all of the 9mm bullets, which meant that he had faked dying. Blame loaded his shotgun and pointed it at Ryan's face, something that I swore that I had seen somewhere before. "Get away from him, dog," Blame said. "Move one more step and I slit his throat," Ryan sharply replied.